This is GyroGearloose with RV Hacking on the Cheap. Today we're going to discuss the addition of two cheap modifications. The first of which being this display that gives you a clock, indoor temperature, outdoor temperature, and the voltage of your house battery. And the second mod being this cigarette lighter. You might wonder, why am I bothering to mention installing a cigarette lighter in a trailer? Well, for some strange reason, my trailer came with absolutely none. So whenever I dry camp, I had zero access to the 12-volt system to plug in lots of 12-volt things, which of course you would use when you're dry camping and don't have AC available. Are you listening, Palomino? We need 12-volt outlets. However, here's an easy solution. I bought this one for about $3 in the local hardware store. And there's this 12-volt lamp nearby. In fact, about 4 inches nearby to where I installed it. This light has permanent 12-volt power. It is not on a wall switch. Therefore, it has continuous 12-volt power. All I did is unscrew the lamp, connect in the power wires to the 12-volt outlet, and screw it to the underside of a cabinet. You'll also note that the particular one I installed, besides having this annoying red LED, has a little USB port, because frequently it's easier to just plug in your cell phone to a USB port than to run it through an inverter to make 120 volt so that you can turn it back into 5 volts to charge your phone. 12 volt to 5 volts is a lot more efficient than going to 120 in between. The other thing I picked up is this clock and thermometer combination. This was probably about $5. As you can see, it has a clock and thermometers on it. That's why I called it a clock and thermometer. And it has this voltage, which is actually surprisingly useful when you're dry camping, so you can tell when you're running down the voltage of your battery. However, remember that the voltage of your battery, especially when you're loading and unloading it, is not a very good indication of how much power you actually have left in your battery. A sudden drain will drive the voltage way down when you still may actually have plenty of power left once you remove that load. To install this, all I did was also connect it into the 12-volt supply, and it has a temperature probe for the outside temperature, which comes off the unit, runs through this cabinet, and out through the emergency exit. You might wonder why I went out the emergency window, and the answer is very simple. It has a second seal. So the wire, if you can see this, is going out through the emergency seal, which you do not normally move when you're opening and closing the window. If you run the wire through a window that opens and closes, you'll continuously be scissoring that wire and after a couple cycles probably cut it. You don't want to do that. If it goes through the emergency seal, unless you routinely open your emergency window, it should not affect the wire at all. Here we are outside the coach, and you can see where that temperature probe goes to. It was applied using a very technical process called stick it. You peel the backing and you stick it. Perhaps surprisingly, this has been towed this way for a couple thousand miles, and the stick-em on the sensor is perfectly fine for keeping that sensor in place. The wind has not done anything to its ability to stay on the side of the trailer. Note that I stuck it to a white portion of the trailer, because 1 inch to the right, it would read much higher. If you're wondering why your air conditioner is running and running and running, this might answer the question without having to go outside and learn the hard way. It's 107!